Hey guys, and welcome to the show. So today marks the very first day of our brand new top-down Warplane series, and in this video I'm going to be showing you what we see on the screen. We have a little plane flying around, follows the mouse. It has a certain degree of turning and speed, and we're going to be configuring all that. And if I hit space, it kind of restarts the game and I get a brand new plane. Later on in the series we're going to be adding shooting, enemies, menus, high scores, maybe even upgrades and special abilities. It's going to be quite fun. This is actually loosely based off of a game I was working on, I think it was many years back. It was quite an ambitious project, but I thought instead of kind of letting that die, I could bring you some of the concepts that maybe could help you create something that I couldn't finish off. Alright, so here we are within a somewhat blank project. I've just got some sprites here, a white, a khaki sand color, red, I really like the red, olive and brown player sprite plane, and these actually have sub images, so the propeller spins. I was actually playing around with different speeds. I think one of these I set to 60. I think we're going to be somewhere around this over the slower 15. So I think technically this is an RAF SE5A. I think I've got a picture over here. Check these out. It's a biplane. Very cool. Very much a World War I era. I think that might be the theme. It's really cool to play around with some older tech. So let's actually bring these to life. We're going to create a player object. And we don't necessarily have to give it a sprite because there's so many to choose from. What I'm going to do is the game is going to randomly choose one whenever it starts. So for this example, what we're going to do is let's set the sprite. Sprite index equal to choose, and here we can say SPR brown, SPR olive, SPR red, SPR sand, SPR white. Cool, so the game's going to choose one for us, and then we can kind of restart the game just to make sure that's working, but it's quite fun. Later on we'll probably let the user choose a different skin, and maybe even incorporate different kinds of planes that have different kinds of abilities. Okay, so also off the bat, we need to set the speed. So for now, let's set that to 10, nice round number. And we need to set a rotation speed. I'm gonna put that at 3. So this is the speed at which it turns toward our mouse, because it's gonna be following a mouse pretty much the entire time. Depending on that speed is how quick it can make a turn. Now, these are quite old planes, so I think we're gonna try go for quite a wide rotation. Now we've also got the image speed. I figured out 30 was a bit of a sweet spot. I think after 30 you either can't notice the difference or it's moving so fast that it doesn't look like it's moving at all. So 30 is going to be good for us. Next, let's go for the step event. This is going to make it turn towards our player. So we're going to say point direction, and this actually comes from a really old tutorial I did back in the day about moving towards the direction of the mouse. It's quite great when code like this can be used no matter what version of GameMaker they created. All kind of is standard, which is really nice. Right, then the image angle we're going to increment by the sign of degrees to radians. Oopsie, to radians. And that's going to be this point direction variable. And we're going to actually minus the image angle times that all by the rotation speed. So you'll see this will actually go away when we use it. And then because we're working with speed, we have to set the direction, and we're going to set that to the image angle. Pretty straightforward. Now it's quite important to notice that in order for this to work, our sprites have to be facing to the right, because that is considered 0. So it's going to be going straight at this point, and that helps with the angles. So just be sure that if your sprite is following and there's a different part of it pointing towards the mouse, then it's most likely because your sprite isn't facing to the right. Okay, then just for fun, we're going to have a space key down, and this is just going to restart the game. Straightforward. Now we can see the different planes in action, see which one we like. Now none of this means anything unless we actually put it in a room. So let's create a fairly large one, because basically we're going to have this massive map and we're going to be using viewports and cameras to control where our player is. Maybe later on we can add some foliage, some obstacles, some things to show the speed a bit more clearly. So let's go 5,000, 5,000. Let's grab our viewports enable 0. Okay, so can we zoom out here? There we go. And let's make this 1920 by 1080, so that's just full screen. And we're going to be following object player, and speaking of which, we need to put object player in our room. We can just actually go like that and put him there. I'm putting him close to the edge, so we'll be able to actually see the movement a little bit more clearly for now. So I think that's pretty much all we need for now. Oh, let's actually rename this room RE World. Okay, cool, great. Save everything. Let's actually give it a run. How about that? It might just actually work. I think we've got everything we need straight off the bat. Let's see. Okay, so the plane's following. I'm seeing the propeller spin quite nicely. I think 30 is a sweet spot. And because we're here in the top left corner of our map, we can actually see the speed in which the plane's traveling. If we were to move more to the bottom right, you'll see the plane will start to attach itself to the edge of the view. So let's actually update that. We need to go into the room world, back into viewports, and expand 0. Here we go. Horizontal border, let's put that at 500 because we want something that's somewhat in the center of the screen. And make this -10, so it'll keep up quite quickly. Okay, that'll be way better. Let's play this again. Oh, cool, we got the red one now. So if we move here, it's going to start moving. See that? See, now it doesn't actually look like we're actually moving at all because it needs to be relative to the items around us, which in this case there aren't any. So if I go back to the top, we should see the plane get to a point, and then it's going to head for the border because the camera will stop on the edge of the screen. There we go. There it is. And it'll naturally loop back around towards our mouse. There it is. Quite fun. Okay, so that wraps up this video. I think in our next video we're going to add some shooting, so that's going to be quite fun. You'll notice that with this RAF SE5A, the gun is actually at the top over here. So if we go back to the images, let's see if we can see it. Okay, cool. So it looks like... Is there a single pilot? Single pilot. And if he wants to shoot, he has to actually stand up and shoot above the propeller. Cool. So yeah, so that's the plane, and so the shots are actually going to come out of this area in the middle over here, which is off center. So we're going to go through the code to do that. Look at that. Every time we hit spacebar, it swaps to a new one, just like that. Not bad, huh? So if you found this tutorial educational and helpful, please feel free to comment, rate, and subscribe. Links to the project files can be found in the description. There's also a link to my Patreon. I really appreciate the support to everyone. And if you have any suggestions on cool things that we can do, things that I haven't already mentioned, we will be doing, please let me know in the comments below, and we can see if we can accommodate them in this really cool little top-down warplane game. So until next time, happy coding, and I'll see you then.